Before we get started, this video is going to be controversial. So if you don't like controversy, don't watch this video. In the comment section, do you believe every single thing the government says is true? Already, you need to leave this video if you don't like the way this is going. I'm just telling you now, don't watch this video. You've been warned. I've had a lot of comments over the course of like 6 months attacking me about some of the things that I've done. People saying they're going to report me and so on and so forth for whatever reason. Now, most of you guys know common sense is back in office. I always want you guys to remember this. They were prosecuting people for removing emissions control devices on diesel trucks. Okay? Now, here's a question. When did they start pushing catalytic converters? Was that in the 70s, 80s, somewhere in there? They started making that mandatory for gasoline powered vehicles. People were always removing those to go with catless exhaust, things like that, simply because they wanted a little bit more performance out of their car. Now, I for one have high flow cats on my car because I don't like the way cars smell with catless exhaust personally. So I like to run high flow cats to try to capture some of that, emissions that comes out of gasoline engines. However, I've never heard of someone going to jail for removing their catalytic converters. Come to think of it, people who were stealing catalytic converters in certain states, I won't say blue states in this video. Oh, I did say, dang it, why did I say that? Darn it. Some of those people didn't go to jail either. They went to jail and then got out the same day. Crazy. However, small businesses here in the States got fined, served time in prison, and lost a lot simply because they were doing something that otherwise should not be considered a crime. But hey, we all get it. EVs was a way to try to change the trajectory of this country. We don't know who's controlling everything, and whoever is, they obviously don't care about American people, because to me personally, Lee Zeldin has already said that greenhouse gases is a bunch of BS. We know these things. Now, in this video, I'm going to prove to you just how foolish emissions control equipment is. We should clearly, right out of the gate, just get rid of DLC, SCR, DPF, right out of the gate. EGR, it is what it is. We can figure out something with that. But as far as those three systems go, this simply does not make sense. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. So we're going to read an article really quickly. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to point out a few things for you guys. So this is on the dpfguys.com. There are 4 obviously emissions components, and they're probably more or less trying to find better advancements for these systems. So we're going to talk about DLC, which is diesel oxidation catalyst, DPF, diesel particulate filter, and selective catalyst reduction. So we already know what these are. We're not going to spend time there, but what's inside of these systems is what's more important. And this is what I want you guys to understand here. So for DLC, here's some of your typical catalytic metals: platinum, palladium, and rhodium. DPF, cerium, and then platinum, and then SCR, vanadium, titanium, platinum, and some advanced systems, it says. Okay. Do you guys know what the cost of some of these metals are? Well, if you're thinking about like just an ounce of some of these metals, for example, platinum, as of mid 2024, that is, and I'm pretty sure it's gone up since then, around $950 per ounce for platinum. Palladium is more expensive. It's $1,500. Rhodium, I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of that before. That is $12,000 per ounce. Hold on here for a second. Let me get this straight. You're telling me that they're using precious metals for this? There's no better way to do this except to mine. Mining? Okay, never mind. Okay, we won't go down that road. That's too deep. That's too deep. Let's stay surface level because I'm good at that. You're telling me they're using precious metals for this crap? So that's one system right there. I believe that's the SCR on the GM trucks. Over here, I have my DLC and I have my DPF. I believe this is a DPF right here. DLC's right here. So they have precious metals that they're using in these systems, guys. Help me make sense of that. Now, if you were actually looking at that breakdown for the precious metals, they do actually show you in that article what those precious metals do for the systems and what their main purpose is, right? But we already understand that there's better ways to reduce emissions. Josh over at Truck Stuff's gonna be doing some really good videos for you guys. But I'm gonna stay on the surface level here because I have to be careful what I say because I'm not really knowledgeable in this realm. I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like when it comes down to it, I'm a really good researcher and I like to read articles. However, when you think about combustion, is there a better way to reduce emissions before we use precious metals, right? When we talk about piston design, when we talk about how the fuel is sprayed into the combustion, I mean, there's so many things that we already know. And there's actually been proof that there's ways to lower nitrous oxides. But why won't they do it? What happens to those systems when they fail? Oh, by the way, those systems fail quite a bit. You don't believe me? You guys don't believe me, don't you? I'm going to show you something real quickly. So I was at a dealership the other day, and I was looking for some trucks to do some reviews on. And in my peripheral, I saw this bin with a bunch of exhaust in it. And I was like, I asked someone, I had to know. I got sidetracked. See, I get sidetracked really, really badly. So I forgot what truck I was looking for. And I said, I got to do a video on this because this is insanity right here. This bin has a ton of exhaust systems from diesel trucks. And it's not like those systems are like, that's like over the course of 5 years. That's not over the course of any years. We just started this year. That's over the span of probably last year into this year. But it gets worse. What do you do when these systems fail with this precious metal? See, Josh told me that it costs too much to pull these apart and pull out the precious metals because it would cost more to do that than the metals are worth inside of there. So in other words, nothing can be done with those precious metals. And you can't just go in with a hacksaw and start cutting and pulling that. You can't do that. There's a process that has to be followed, why it's so expensive, basically. What about DEF? See, I wish I would have taken more time to show you guys some of the stuff I saw when I did my cross-country trip last year. I went cross-country with this truck because I wanted to show you guys reliability. I want to show you fuel economy. By the way, I got better fuel economy without that stuff being in my truck. A lot better fuel economy. What, 20, 30%? When I traveled cross country, I saw so many DEF jugs, the boxes with the jugs inside of them, just out, thrown away on the side of trash cans. Think about what that stuff is doing with the landfill. Right? So let me get this straight. It's all about helping the environment. How does creating more waste help with that? Why in the world are we still buying DEF in jugs anyways? I know why, but do you know why? Do you guys really truly believe that the government is out here to really help us and help the environment? Do you truly believe that? You guys have already said this in the comment sections many times. Why is it that military and some emergency vehicles don't have emissions control equipment? It's a great question. It's a really good question. And honestly, I wish I could give you the absolute correct answer, but I can't because it's anyone's theory on why that is, right? I mean, why is that? Why was it punishable by law if you remove emissions equipment. Why was that? And why is it that we're continuing to produce these terrible systems that continue to fail? And yet no one's saying boo about it. But yet people are attacking me in the comment section and getting angry at me because I'm hurting somebody with my truck. You're hurting people. My mask protects you and your mask protects me. I'll never forget that. When I heard that, I thought that was a joke. I literally busted out laughing when I heard that. And then I found out that it was true. I did a video on that. What else? There was something else I wanted to say. It just came to me. And this is my last point too, by the way. Remember this. A lot of people decided not to buy these 2012 and later trucks. And a lot of people are continuing to go out and buy older diesels, right? The fuel standards have changed. We've talked about that in the video. Maybe I'll link that one at the end of this one for you guys. But I want you to remember this. People will say that if you delete your truck, then you're hurting people, right? You're hurting people. My mask protects you and your mask protects me. What happened to all the trucks that are still on the road today that are still throwing out black smoke? I still see semi trucks out there. They're not deleted. They're just old trucks. But somehow, some way, people believe that because if you delete your truck, you're hurting people now. My mask protects you and your mask protects me. That's all that is. Because there's already trucks on the freaking road that are still putting out soot. Make it make sense for me. I'm just being honest here. I'm having an honest conversation with you now. If you say that if someone deletes their truck, I didn't delete my truck. I did a weight loss program. That's what I did. I put my truck on Jenny Craig, as someone might have said in the comment section in one of my videos. I thought it was pretty funny, by the way. But if this is so bad, why didn't the government buy all those trucks back and give the guys that already own diesel trucks new trucks? Hey, we need you, right, to buy these new trucks because they're better for the environment. Why do politicians still get on private jets who are for this Green New scam? Whatever you do not answer that question. Now, I know some of you guys don't like when I get political on this channel because like it's a truck channel and you're talking about politics. I didn't come here for that. Well, let me tell you this. I never was political, actually. I was one of those people who were like you. I would never talk about politics because number one, I didn't understand it. And number two, I just didn't see it really that interesting until I had my first kid. In 2013, I was 25 years old. I had my son. The following year, I had my daughter. And I heard this song and it said, "I'm coming for your children." And I was like, ugh, I don't like that. I don't want to tell you who sung the song because I feel like you two might try to throttle this video and probably continue to throttle my channel, but it was the gay choir in San Francisco. That's who sung the song. And I didn't like it. I was like, I don't like that. So I started to figure out what I actually align with because my kid's future is very important to me. Okay? And I don't want them to be controlled in such a way that would hinder their beliefs. You guys know that I am what you would say a Christian, but I don't call myself a Christian. I call myself a Jesus follower because Jesus is different from Christianity. Don't mix the two. There's a difference in how Jesus lived his life and how Christians think that they should live their life today. Because if you really truly follow Jesus, you probably wouldn't do the things you do. But that's a video for another day. I knew for myself, I wanted my kids to have their best shot at life. And unfortunately, you're going to look a little different from the world. That's why I tell my kids that all the time. And so you guys might think I'm doing these videos about diesel trucks, and I am, but it's not really about that. I just use this as my ornament for you guys to try to understand there's nothing new under the sun. What has happened before will happen again. And one day you'll have to stand for something. So you might say you don't like politics. You might say that this is a truck channel and you should leave politics out. And you might be right. But here's what I'll tell you. What's happening in the world today is not a surprise. It's all been predetermined. You got to pick a side. Just make sure you're on the right side when the time comes, because things are starting to really change really fast. It's not about diesel trucks, guys. It's about control. And who do you really want controlling you is all I'm going to ask you. Because at some point, you'll have to bow the knee to somebody. And I know who I'm going to bow my knee to.
My mask protects you. Your mask protects me.